Welcome to Demon Adventure Journey, and here I am, Yuma, with a amazing tier list. Let's get straight into it, shall we? And voila, here it is in its glory. This is a spreadsheet tier list that I have been spending hours making just for you guys. Basically, I collabed with Oblivion, Crossfate. He is in the Discord server. He is a 1 month player here in server 50. Big spender. So I got his experience with the game and the heroes just to ensure my evaluations are as accurate as can be. Just because he has more experience and I just started 4 days ago. So there's that. But here is the tier list. Basically, you got your heroes, faction, role that they fulfill. You also have tier ratings for PvP and PvE, so 1 through 10. Here's the scaling. Rating 1 to 3, not great, don't use it. 4 to 5, they're okay. 6 being the standard, so anything like above 6, like just 6 is like the pocket pick until you get anything that is rating above 7. So 7 to 8, super great. 9, outstanding, and 10, perfect. You can't get any better than that. And a reminder that all units are rated based on their base skill values, so not their upgraded versions. Basically, every time you start up your hero, certain milestones they get like a level 2 scale, level 3 scale, etc. Sometimes they have additional add-ons, like in Inosuke's case, his skill 1, once you get to I think level 2, he starts taunting. Which is really, really handy. So in most cases, I just do the base skill. So there might be some crazy things that aren't being taken into account, which is, of course, as why I have Oblivion telling me kind of like their overall experience with each hero. So shouldn't matter too much, but just keep that in mind. I'm also rating them without their exclusive weapon just because it's not that accessible. It's more of a pay to win or a spender's privilege. But yeah, this is all just based on their tooltips. I translate it as best as possible because sometimes their wording or words are missing. But for the most part, I would say it's 90% accurate. And we'll just get straight into it. I'm not going to rate the chaos units just because they're not very accessible. Any of these chaos units will always be better than an SSR plus. So if you see these ratings, a 7 for chaos unit is a completely different story from a 7 in SSR plus. So just keep in mind that the chaos units are rated just between comparisons between chaos units. SSR plus will be compared with SSR plus. So yeah, I would still say top 3 would be Demon King Muzan, Yoriichi, and Nezuko. Koko, Shibo, and Demon King Tanjiro are just like really, really strong too. But I think these top 3, just with their kits, are just insanely strong. Anything with start of battle in their kit is always a great advantage to have, and definitely helps with the rating. Or passes like this where demons deal 50% less damage to Muzan. It's just busted. Same with here with Yoriichi, which is the demon counter to Demon King Muzan. Basically will buff a other human ally by 150% attack and HP, which is insane, and also does double damage to demons with skill 1. So can't go wrong with that. I'm not gonna rate them though. We're gonna go straight to SSR plus. Here we have Gyomei Himejima. He is considered the best tank in the game right now, obtainable through special recruitment, so the Wish recruitment tickets, or through what I was looking through Discord, they were saying some kind of guild ticket event. So doing guild wars, eventually there's going to be like a guild war ticket event where he is obtainable. Super strong. I think when I was looking at Discord, it was like Gyomei or Sanemi, one of these two. that you can pick from in the special recruitment. So super excited. He is really, really strong. Great damage for a tank, and he is also just a great team player with having a shield all, as well as applying a 40% attack and crit rate debuff. He also can sponge tank damage from back row allies. Has a bit of a knock. Also apply 6% of his HP to the ally with the lowest HP for 6 seconds. Really good while still doing damage. Definitely a good pocket pick. The reason why we're lower rate some of these guys, although they're strong, they have a lower rating in PvE, is because PvE content is more about clearing full screen than it is like surviving in most cases, from what Oblivion has told me. So that's why people who have more utility in their kit usually doesn't do well in PvE, just because we're trying to clean waves of monsters as fast as possible. I'm not trying to survive those waves, because if you just kill them, you don't need to have to worry about surviving them. Sanemi, we got a rating of 8 and 8. Super strong PvP and PvE. Just great overall. A hyper carry, high burst, as you can see here. Whenever an enemy is under any effect, freeze, burn, poison, etc., he'll do double damage. So I don't know if you see this. For spenders, if you get his exclusive weapon, he'll immediately cast his ultimate, so he'll do 100% damage right at the start of battle. Super good, super great. Just overall damage to all enemies is beautiful to see. He'll also do additional 150% extra damage, but for a 30% chance. Really great additional damage. Also has a death down of 50%. Anything that has like a crazy 50% plus debuff, like that's like a no-brainer in my opinion. Also, he has a start of battle buff to all teammates, haste dodge up, as well as 50% increased damage based on Sanemi's attack power. So you can't go wrong with Sanemi. Great utility in his kit for buffing team, as well as doing damage, as well as death breaking. So Doma is probably the best crowd control unit in the game right now. Also an 8 out of 8. Oblivion was saying he is having troubles keeping Doma alive, so this is where you need a tank like Gyomei or Gyutaro or Giyuu, just to stall for time for Doma to really get those skills off. But honestly, out of all the control effects, freeze is probably the best one. Freeze applies a 20% more damage onto frozen units. They can also, the person that's under freeze cannot act during this period, and loses 1% max HP per second. Like, it's just a stacked control skill. So super, super good. Decent damage overall in this entire kit. He also slows them down, 50% debuff haste. Just more freeze chance, knockback, and if you have this exclusive, which is really good, not putting it under rating, but this will solve your survivability issues, because if he'll summon an ice avatar, and if Doma dies, the ice avatar will be sacrificed and Doma will revive. So super good. Akaza 8 and 6. Again, 6 because he's just not good at like clearing mobs really fast, so not too strong in PvE. But in those 5v5 situations, or 1v5 situations, or 1v1 situations, Akaza is your man. Oblivion has been rocking Akaza and loving it every single moment. I didn't note this in his ultimate, but if you get his ultimate level 3, he can stack 4 times. So you can see here, he enter cast spell states for 12 seconds. All skills 100% damage increase and 40% attack speed. Basically, if you get this to level 3, this becomes 400% increased damage from what Oblivion's telling me. Even 100% is nuts, but if it's 400% damage increase to all his skills, bro. I don't know if that's how it works, because it does say for 12 seconds, so maybe you can't get this enough stacks in time. But if it is 400% damage increase, that makes 300% damage into 1200% damage, 1200. So his entire kit is busted, and he's just a great bruiser, constantly healing himself, doing insane damage. He can also interrupt enemy actions. Just great survivability with the attack speed, super armor from Hegemony, and yeah, just can't go wrong with him. If you just look in Discord, there are like some clips that he records showing the 1v5 potential that Akaza has. So super selfish carry, but he does a really great job. Muichiro Tokito, 8-6 as well. He is an assassin. I rate anyone with the role assassin. Basically, they have the role because they teleport to the backline. Anyone that teleports to the backline, in my opinion, is a assassin. Great multipliers. Does HP % burst damage. Flat burst. The flat damage multiplier is really good already. 580%, 320%, 450%. Super great. Start of battle with Scar 1, he goes invisible for 4 seconds, so he's not going to be targetable. And he also, when friendly units are still alive, Muichiro has a dodge and damage increase of 24%. Again, these are just the flat base skills, nothing related to level ups, but just saying this alone shows his potential to carry. Just clear out the back line of your enemies, as well as surviving. He has survivability in his kit, so you don't have to worry about him getting blasted, pretty much. Kyojuro Rengoku. So every time you start a server, you always see this guy. He's the first special recruit. He's in the top-up package, the most expensive one, the $100 top-up package. Is he good? He is insanely good for PvE. He has a full screen clear ultimate. PvP wise, he is very underwhelming, but PvP, he is the PvE king. Burn, I feel like out of all the control effects, you can see here, there's a tab, tooltip legend here at the bottom. I think on mobile phones is at the top, but it shows you a list of all the different like CCs. I might be missing some. I'm gonna probably add it if I missed it, but I just feel like Burn is the most underwhelming. Does great damage over time, but definitely doesn't bring as much utility as the other Burn damage over time skills or freeze skills or stun skills, etc. Anyways, so great full screen clear, great for PvE. PvP wise, there's a lot of units that can replace him. That's why he's just a standard 6 for PvP. You can use him. It's not like he's bad, but he's not great. He doesn't excel other units in the PvEP department. But overall, great damage multipliers. You can't really complain with him. He does the job perfectly for PvE, which I think is their intention. So Tengen Uzui is one of the free-to-play units. The most obtainable free-to-play unit is usually Tengen Uzui or Daki for the start for new players or new servers. Honestly, Tengen Uzui's utility, I think, is a lot better than Daki. These are, again, ratings helping from Oblivion. So 8 for PvP, 6 for PvE. Honestly, to me, I think it's like a 7 in PvE still, but he's just a great initiator and stunner. His ultimate pulls all units in front of him, which is a great combo starter and synergizes with any other pretty much hero that casts their ultimate after Uzui, because they're all grouped up. So it's beautiful. Chef's kiss. He also has a lot of tinnitus effects, which basically every time they get what does it say, every time crit damage on target, 2 crit hits will stun the target for 2 seconds, and this can be triggered multiple times. So he's just stun chaining the enemies, which is beautiful to see. His damage multipliers are on the little low side, but his ultimate makes up for it being really, really strong damage, just from the second part of the scale, as well as just his utility for grouping everyone together and stunning. It's just a great crowd control and grouping hero. I honestly won't replace him. I went for Uzui instead of Daki, and I don't plan on ever replacing this guy in my team. Giyuu, He is the quote-unquote selfish tank. He has no utility for his teammates, but he will never struggle to survive. So he's like your staller to make sure your backline casts their skills. I just don't know, like assassins I feel like will counter lineups just because they can just hit the back line, and Giyuu will be the only one left standing at this point. But his damage reduction and his ability to negate like skill damage on him is just so good. Like honestly, he's the best survivor out of all the tanks. He no problems there. Actually, he becomes a crazy carry if you have his exclusive weapon. But again, that's just like a spender's privilege. I think everyone that has exclusive weapon, they just become OP. Some better than others because some are just like a damage skill, like an extra damage skill. But for Giyuu, he gets like a 600% damage to all enemies after he reaches 15 stacks of calm. So you really can't go wrong with Giyuu. You won't regret using him. Just super great at surviving. I just personally think he's a selfish tank and doesn't bring utility to the team, but he does the job if you're just trying to stall time and survive for your backline or your carries to do the dirty work. Like maybe pair Giyuu with an assassin like Muichiro, and so Giyuu will just distract them in the front while Muichiro just shreds the back. So that could be the play style. Daki is in no ways worse than anyone we just mentioned. Honestly, I think has the most crowd control in her kit than anyone else. She has like 2 knockbacks, 1 entangle, 1 interrupt, and 1 knockdown. Like she'll just chain knock you down so the enemy just barely has any chance to act. So super reliable, great PvP unit, standard in PvE, can't go wrong. I just think Uzui has more potential for team play activity. But yeah, also I think if you look at their stats, 702k cap in CP for Daki, and Uzui is a 772k stat cap. So Uzui stat wise is a little stronger. Shinobu Kocho 7.6 as well. Not a lot of people are using her just because I don't think there was a lot of like server events or options to claim her other than using your Moon or Hashira box to select her, which might be a waste because usually you just get a dupe of Uzui, Daki, or etc. So not the most user friendly for free to play. It's kind of a spender's choice here. It's good. I can't really complain. You get a haste buff, Wisteria Poison, stacks up to 4 times. Poison is way better than burn. And yeah, I can't really complain too much about it. Teleports behind a random enemy, cleanses all control effects on herself, and just keeps dishing out damage over time. Gyutaro is just like the weaker version of Gyomei, but of course does more damage. So less shield utility, more he has the same shield utility, just less survivability buffs to the team, because Gyomei has like damage reduction and sponging in his kit, whereas Gyutaro is just damage and shield. But you'll never be disappointed with Gyutaro as well. Honestly, in my opinion, I kind of like Gyutaro more than Daki. I might be crazy for saying that, but I like the damage scaling. He also casts a 30% chance for Forbidden Skill, making sure that the enemy can't use skills. He has a shield to himself and near his teammates. It has 300% attack scaling. If you level it up, it's 600% attack scaling. It's pretty good. Also, if you get his exclusive, he just shields even more. When people are casting ultimates, he will shield the team. So super great. He also has a block up, which is nice. and focuses the backline. You always want someone focusing the backline, right? Kaigaku, honestly, out of all these 7-6 rating heroes, I think it's better than Shinobu Kocho in terms of bursting and dishing out damage. I do like the constant attack buff he gives himself, but I just feel like Gyutaro, Uzui, Daki has more utility in their kit to like really help out the team. This is more just like pure glass cannon damage dealer. And honestly, in the meta, I think Bruiser survivability damage dealers are better than glass cannon damage dealers, especially if you're in an underdog fight and you're fighting like higher up, because that's what Oblivion has been experiencing when he's fighting whales like are 1 million higher than him. It's better to have someone that dishes out damage but also can survive, rather than someone else just doing more damage but not being able to survive, right? Makes sense. Mitsuri, I feel like doesn't have enough playtime yet. I don't think a lot of people have her, or if she's even out yet. I think Mitsuri and Onori are not out yet, but the kit looks really nice. So this is just evaluation based off speculation. 7-6, great kit for reducing damage, and she's a great bruiser because she reduces damage taken by 35% at start of battle, as well as having life steal in her kit as well in Scar 1. Super good, can't go wrong. Great multipliers, happy to see her. Genya is the rage stealer. So out of all the units, there are rage reducers. Genya is the only rage stealer, where he will steal 50 points from the enemy instead of just reducing 50 points from the enemy. So super great. He can probably spam skill a lot if he gets lucky. He also marks the enemy with the highest attack, so it's great focus on making sure the enemy's highest damage dealer doesn't fucking just one-shot wipe your team. Although 20% in the grand scale of things might not be that much. Restore 25% HP and 200 points of rage when an enemy dies. Great for survivability for those long fights. I'm just kind of not really liking his Scar 1 and Scar 2. He seems to be a normal attack focus unit, but he doesn't really look like the kit to really maximize that. Like there are like attack speed units or auto attack units like Zenitsu or Momoko that will benefit more from that. But yeah, for Genya, his normal attacks, I don't know. I think the Scar 1 and 2 just kind of nurse him a little bit, but still super good. He does have damage stacking on skill 2, which is nice. But that is for long fights again. For Tamayo, she is kind of like the mainstay. It's great starter unit. If you get exclusive, you get resurrection. Super nice. I think Tanjiro, the SSR plus Tanjiro, counters the resurrection though, because Tanjiro has a terminate effect on his skill, so keep that in mind. But Tamayo is really, really good. Kind of falls later on in PvE for those large scale fights, just because the range of the skills, you don't really need to worry about healing and stuff like that. You just need to worry about clearing the map and the waves of monsters. So again, Tamayo's really good, especially early, and continues to be really good in PvP in late. But yeah, definitely for PvE, you're gonna eventually swap her out. Still really good, can't go wrong. It is a free-to-play friendly unit to have. Zenitsu, a lot of conversation on this when I was doing research in Discord, whether this is a late game character. A lot of people still using him late game. Oblivion thinks that is only really good till mid game, and I can see why. Again, it's the conversation of glass cannon versus bruiser survivability. So this is pure glass cannon, no survivability, but does really, really good damage really, really fast. One of the faster damage dealers out there. I'm not going to read all this out just to save time, but you can read the notes here on the right explaining how this works, because these 720%, 960%, these look like crazy multipliers, but he's not actually hitting those numbers. But super, super strong still. Next, we have Inosuke. Inosuke is a fun one. Honestly, I like this tank a lot compared to all the other tanks I've seen so far. But I haven't got to touch Gyomei yet. But his tanking is very fun because he just keeps dashing and moving around, which I like. He is a CC counter with skill 2. Every time he gets hit with a crowd control, he will restore 10% max HP and consume 1 perception. So he basically just resists crowd controls and heals from it. He also charges target, taunts them. I don't know if any other heroes have taunt. I didn't really look at their upgraded skills. I added this just because I know that Inosuke has a taunt. Also, if you have his exclusive, dude, he just pretty much sponge tanks everything. Better than Giyuu because he is invincible. He blocks all damage for 4 seconds. But again, it keeps him stationary. He can't do damage back during that animation. So I don't know if it's really good in practice. It just seems really good from what I saw in the trial mode, just seeing the exclusive being used. But yeah, really fun, really nice. Again, PvE wise, he doesn't really have any clear ability. No full screen clear, is very single target focused or small ranges. But for PvP, hilariously fun. I can see why a lot of people would use him. I'm considering to use him as well just because of his survivability and annoyance. So Yushiro, 6'5". I think he's just very standard, very great. A good pick to have. Again, you would replace these 6'5" units for someone above 7 in their respective categories when you have the chance. But Yushiro is one of those mainstay buffers, really great at keeping the team alive, drastically reducing hit rate and making them unable to gain rage with his ultimate. He also has a survivability tool with scale 1, keeping himself alive, negating 50% chance to negate the damage being dealt to him. Skill 2, he has a 30% attack buff, which I think goes to 50% if you have the upgraded version. Really nice, great damage starter. He also has a chance to charm for 6 seconds, which is good. Not chance, he does charm for 6 seconds. So it really works well with Tamayo in that sense. Also just has the ability to buff crit and dodge for teammates. So great survivability kit. Very useful. I use him. I'm probably going to still use him. I am early again. I'm only day 4, but I'll probably use him for a long time. I think Oblivion still uses him as well. So yeah, Tanjiro, this is your bread and butter, your pocket pick, standard until you can get a 7+ unit, but you're going to use him up to mid game probably. He has that terminate effect, like I said, which is in skill 2. Which allows him to pretty much hit anyone below 10% and make sure to finish them off so that they can revive. He also has serious injury. I don't know if you level it up, I think it goes to 65%, but serious injury just increases damage taken, I believe. There is no real tooltip on explaining what serious injury is from what I've seen from all the units. So that is just a guess. I'm not too sure. It sounds like it, in my opinion. But yeah, very standard. Multipliers really good. Skill 1 not that great, but it's an AoE cleave. But yeah, damage wise, he is solid. Very, very solid. Now for Sabito, again, I feel like you need at least one assassin in your lineup. At least for PvP wise. I think he's a great standard pick. Usually people ask either Sabito or what's her name, Mokomo. Sabito seems to be the better one out of the two, in my opinion. Just from his kit alone, he has a start of battle effect, after death effect, like homage to Sion from League of Legends. He keeps doing damage even after he dies. Just great multipliers overall as well. Can't go wrong. Gyokko, he is really great for PvP, but has no place in PvE. Poison that constantly stacks It has no limit, and also the ability to render one of the enemies inactive for 5 seconds is insane. So definitely usable for PvP. Definitely a niche pick. I don't think anyone has Gyokko right now. Don't know how easy accessible he is. At least in my new server, he doesn't even show up in the hero box yet, or in the hero collection section. As for Rui, he's like your weaker version of Rengoku, using bleeds, and also has a full screen attack. But yeah, the multipliers are not that great compared to Rengoku. He does have an entanglement effect, which is nice. But yeah, his kit is too focused on family members, and all his spider family members are SSR, not SSR plus, so you're never going to be using them. So very niche, gonna only have good use early to mid game. But yeah, you're not the best choice here. Kanao, pretty decent in PvP. You can use her in PvP, but no use in PvE at all. Her kit is really centered around dodging as well as ignoring defense, percentage defense. Nice thing is, at least with the ultimate, the enemy cannot act, which is a really cool lock. But again, I don't know if you really want to use her when there's all these other options above. For Enmu, this is kind of like a starter pick for everybody. Enmu is, you just get a lot of copies of Enmu, so a lot of people invest in him early. But he falls kind of late game. Just Dream is a really good effect. There's a lot of Dream in his kit, just making the enemy unable to act. Also, Dream cannot be dispelled, and has once the dream expires, you do additional damage. So really nice kit overall. Really enjoy him. He's just an okay pick though. There's a lot of better utility and damage in the units above. So you would use this guy until mid game, and then late game you're trying to get rid of him for someone better. But really fun. Like him a lot. Obanai Iguro. Now nobody has him. Like, I don't think anyone has Mitsuri. So this is all speculation again. His kit looks very underwhelming. However, it really depends on how crazy the damage scaling and combo mechanic is. But just looking at his cap stats, his cap stats is 629k CP, combat power. Whereas if you look at all the other SSR plus that are good, they're all 700 to 770k CP. So this guy is really underwhelming compared to even Nezuko, which is down here. So I don't even know if he even deserves a 5/5, but no one has him yet. I wouldn't recommend using him. Let some spender who has too much money experiment with him. I wouldn't personally try yourself. Just because it looks like his survivability is trash. Shinjuro, again, I don't know if you're ever going to use him as a tank when you have Giyuu, Inosuke, Gyomei, Gyutaro. I just think he is a good free-to-play choice. But again, tanks don't really have a meta use in PvE. They're only good for PvP, just for the shielding. He does have a silence, but it's 10% chance. I don't know if it increases with level ups, but the base chance is really small. Yeah, his shielding is just okay. I wouldn't recommend using him. You might need him in certain situations where survivability is an issue, but it's all right. Nezuko, I wish I invested in Tanjiro, but I invested in Nezuko just because I got a lot of early copies. I'll have to eventually take her out. I personally enjoy her, but if you look at her stats, like Onori, it only caps at 667k, whereas the token ones are around 720 to 770. So survivability is an issue just because of the stat scaling. She has great lifesteal on ultimate and second skill. Really nice. Damage multipliers are decent. And I think this is the only one I saw that has a dispel, because there's a lot of skills that say cannot be dispelled or can be dispelled. This is like the only dispeller, so maybe that's where her usage comes from, and maybe she'll get a better rating in the future when people get to play test her more. But so far, survivability is not that great. Damage is pretty okay. Nothing to write home about, just standard. Dispel is interesting, and will apparently do double damage to characters with shields, so that's really good for shredding shields. It also disables enemy with Scar 2. So, okay, but you don't really want to have a unit that consumes her HP by herself. The only reason why the Chaos Nezuko is worth it is because the turnout is much better. Like, you get crazy amounts of buffs for consuming your current HP. But for an SSR plus Nezuko, not really worth having that effect on. Mokomo, again, it's either you get what's his name, Sabito or Mokomo. Mokomo's all right. Has a good stun chance for 2 seconds only though. Pretty decent damage multipliers. And it has like an auto attack effect, like next damage increase after teleporting behind. So your first attack after teleporting behind the back line will do extra damage. Also, you enter stealth, which allows you to take away aggro from yourself, so you can dish out more damage before dying. Survivability wise, not the greatest again, but she has 735k CP, so better than Nezuko in terms of survivability. So who knows? Honestly, actually, now that I look at it, Mokomo should be above Nezuko on this list. And above Shinjuro. That's my bad. I'm trying to put the better average of numbers top to bottom, so that way it's easier for you guys to read. Urokodaki and Jigoro, not really much to mention. You can just read the description here, but their survivability is trash. 599k is the lowest I've ever seen. And Jigoro has 734k, but his kit is super underwhelming. And his role is a standard attacker, not a buffer. So why have him as an attacker when there's all these other attacker options? So he's just cannon fodder. Don't use him. But that's pretty much the video. This is a really long video already. I'm going to put time stamps for all the characters, so you can just skip to the one you need. The spreadsheet for this will also be in the comments below. And yeah, if you have any questions, or if you think there should be a reevaluation if you playtest some of these and they're better, just let me know. Feel free to comment in the description if you disagree. But again, this is all just speculative from experience from 1 month player, Oblivion, as well as myself. So take it with a grain of salt, use what you like, but this is just a nice kind of benchmark and guideline for you to follow. Cheers, guys. I'll update this with every new hero. Lots of love, and I'll probably make another video regarding beginner's guide after I get more days in. Cheers. Bye.